ceiling. I've been trying to get these pent up feelings out. I could give a fuck about how to feel about.
I just sat down. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to my channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, share, do whatever you can. It's your host, Train for Life. And today, what are we gonna talk about? Oh, but before we do, let me get you looking at the t-shirt, Train for Life t-shirt. Go ahead and hit me up in the DM on my IG, website coming soon. So before we kind of get into things, I just wanna say this. I know there's a lot going on. I know that everybody is pretty stressed out. I know that right now a lot of people are dealing with a lot of pain. A lot of people are passing. Someone very close to me just passed away. I'm right there with whoever has lost anyone due to COVID or due to any other instance. I'm right there with you. So I just want to say, hey, I understand what you're going through, and I'm not just saying it to say it to get likes or anything like that. I'm telling you the real deal. Just want to take a moment and then get back to what this video was all about. So, but before I start, let me get my pregame. Nice. It's like 6 p.m. during the day. Why am I drinking alcohol? Anyway, I want to talk to you today about not quitting, okay? And more so, I want to tell you a little bit about what happened to me. A little snippet about me. I do voiceovers, I'm in some commercials, and I have a pretty crazy 9-to-5 job. My 9-to-5 job basically has me with the general public, helping people in crisis situations. I'm not gonna say anything too much from there. But what I will say, I'm a pretty layered person, and I don't really have a crazy support system, never really had one, was never like a loner, but never had like crazy friends. So I'm kind of like in the middle. I wasn't a groupthink individual. I was more of a, I'm gonna do what's best for me, and I'm gonna move forward in my direction. Long story short, I moved to Arizona, right? And I met somebody who was taking acting classes. Now, I had somebody tell me that, you know, you really weren't good, you weren't gonna get anything. This was before the acting class, and it just kind of, you know, I was in a class, but it didn't really resonate with me. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever, like I'll get out of it. So I go to this class, Scottsdale. I take a friend of mine who's never acted before, right? Never acted before. He's never been on camera professionally. He's never done anything. We go to this house. While we're at the house, we're sitting there, and the instructor, they pair us up with people, right? So there's people sitting in this house. There's like stuff on the wall and accolades and awards and stuff. So this person apparently has done some serious work of some sort in the field. So we get given a scene, and this person is like, I want you guys to act it out. And we're going, obviously, if you've ever been in like an acting class, then you know that when you perform, you basically live and die in front of everybody else. So if you were trash, which everybody is, including myself, at some point everyone's gonna know you were trash. So there's no like mistake, you know, if you were trash, like everyone's gonna know. Like you're not doing like private auditions unless you're paying for like your independent lessons and so forth. But even more so, how do you accept constructive criticism? If you can't really accept it, then you're not really gonna do too well in any field, because you need that for growth. So I digress. We're given a scene, and in this particular scene, I was under the impression that we were acting it out physically, not just having like a tight shot, like where we're just kind of like right here and we're in this space using our face and nothing else. I thought it was more of a wide view. We were all gonna be, you know, moving and gesturing and all this other stuff. So whatever the case may be, that didn't happen. So on my particular scene, I was supposed to pretend I was cooking something and then converse with my friend who was like to my left or my right or whatever, I don't remember. I acted out the scene and I pretended to be cooking. It was all being recorded. So when it was all being recorded, the instructor like played it back and just kind of like went in on me. Was like, you know, you looked at your lines too long, you didn't have enough emotion, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. I had made like this movement, like I was cooking or something like that, and this instructor was like, you should have never have done this, look how stupid, look how silly you look. Played it in front of everybody, everybody's like laughing and giggling at me, like everybody. Then tells me my friend that I brought, who's like never done an acting class, they're like, oh, he was perfect, he was confident, he was everything that you're not. Like, you know, if I were you, I would reconsider doing any type of acting. You're not ready for any type of acting. I was like, damn, that hurts. So I take it on the chin. I don't say anything. We finish the class. You know, I hear that everybody in the class, and ages vary, like 18 to 25 to 30 to, you know, and people are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go here and get a scholarship for fine arts. I'm gonna go here and do this, or I'm gonna go here. You know, I'm just quiet, you know, because I'm in a different walk of life than these other people. This is a passion project for me, but I don't say anything. My friend and I, we leave and we drive back to like my place so he can get in his car and go to his place. And I'm just saying to myself, like, you know what, man, like, just tell me straight, like, do you think I was trash? And he was like, I don't think you were trash, you know. He was like, I just think she went a little hard on you. Excuse me, they went a little hard on you. They could have waited, like they could have been cooler about it, but you took it like a champ. Weeks go by. I'm going to auditions and I'm not getting anything. Like, nothing. Like, I think I went to one specific casting director probably like 10 to 12 times. I got nothing. Like, it got to the point to where I was like, I'll go, but I know I'm not gonna get casted, so why even send me? But I still went. I told myself, like, I'm not gonna take myself out of the rankings. I'm still gonna go and I'm gonna audition. Like, I'm not gonna quit. I told myself, no matter what I do, don't quit. I have to push myself forward no matter what. I didn't want to be a quitter. So long story short, there's a couple of auditions coming up. I go to this audition, I don't get it. I go to another audition within the same day. So two in the same day. Don't get the first one, didn't get the second one. I get another message in my Facebook inbox. So this casting company, Good Faith Casting in Arizona, they were like, hey, have you ever done voiceovers? I was like, no, I don't know anything about voiceovers. Like, I've never, at that point, I didn't know anything about anything. I just knew like people who did it. I always assumed they were in studios and they were doing all this other stuff, and it was an expensive setup, and that it was something that I could never afford to do. So I never even looked into it. It was just kind of off the radar. So let me backtrack. So I'm looking at this casting, right? And I'm trying to figure out, how am I gonna figure out how to do these lines? I don't have a studio, I don't have a microphone, I don't know anybody in the acting world who does these types of auditions. So how am I going to complete this? I don't know what I'm gonna do. While I'm working, I come across a director that I was working with, and we just kind of chatted up. I'm like, hey man, here's the deal. I got these lines and this is due by this date, but I've never done any type of audition with any type of voiceover. I don't know what to do. He goes, you know what? I got a friend of mine that might be able to help you. Let me give you his number. He gives me this guy's number. I call the guy, and the guy was a cool guy. He was like from the UK, but he lived in Arizona, and he was cool. You know, I was like, I'll give it a try. So the guy's like, hey, every time you come over to my studio, you know, each session costs X amount of dollars. So I go over to his house. This is the day before I start my work week. I go to his house, we go over some lines. He's like, you know what, man, just come back tomorrow because, you know, you did good, but I don't know who the client is. If you want to get more, you know, you need to come back. So he's like teaching me and he's coaching me. He's a really good guy. I don't want to say his name because I'm gonna tell you a little bit about that. I go to work, I bring an extra set of clothes. I get off of work, I drive like 40 minutes to his house. I somehow memorize these lines. I go into his booth, which is in his home, his studio. Boom, I start recording. He's able to help me fix everything up, you know, cut it, splice it, make the sound gradient awesome. Gives me the MP4. I send it to the casting director. They send it to the client. Like a couple days go by, nothing happened. I go on another audition, I get nothing. And then I remember when all this was going on, a random person that I was trying to help get hired where I work, I was like, I do acting and I love it, man, and I've done some commercials. And this is what the person told me. He said, it almost makes me sad. The person told me, he said, you know what, man, you need to quit all that. He said, give up on those dreams, man. He was like, you'll never do any of that stuff. Like, who are you? Like, why would anybody choose you? Like, what makes you so great? He was like, come on, man, you don't even make money where you're at. Mind you, I do make money, and he doesn't know how much I make, and he's trying to get hired doing what I do. But he's telling me this guy that I helped out fill out an application, resume, interview. He sits there and tells me not to follow my dreams. He told me I wouldn't make it. He was like, give up on your dreams, you're not good enough. Damn, like, I thought this dude was cool. Like, he's like, I'm just telling you the truth, man. Like, you'll never be good enough for your dreams. You should just give up. Like, I don't know why you keep trying. So I was like, damn, this guy's messed up. So I cut that guy off. I get another text message from this casting company. They're like, hey, the client liked your audition, but can we give you another one, you know, just to go over, just to see if they'll like. I'm like, okay, well, when do you need it? Well, we need it by tonight. I'm like, well, I gotta go to work. Like, I can't just not go to work. Like, I got a pretty serious job. They're like, well, they're requesting it by tonight, so you figure it out. So I'm like, damn, like, oh, okay. I go to work, I get off a little bit early, I smash back over to this voiceover guy's house, pay him another X amount of dollars for his booth time, and we go over this script for like 2-3 hours. I leave his house, I go home dead tired because once again, I never did voiceovers, didn't know anything about it. But he gave me the MP4 file and he's like, here you go, you can go ahead and record this and go from there. So what I end up doing is I send up the file at the stroke of midnight. Boom, I send up the file. They're like, okay, thank you, because if you had submitted it late, we wouldn't have taken it. So I send up the file, and the next day they're like, we like you. Can you read one more thing for us just to be safe? I said, well, when do you need it to? I was like, I just sent you 2 voiceovers and I have to work. She goes, well, you know, this one you can give us in a couple of days, but if you could just do this one last voiceover, it would be okay. I was like, all right. Well, I said, I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna quit. So I'm gonna keep pushing forward, but I'm not going to quit. So what I ended up doing, got off, went to work, carried an extra set of clothes, went back over there, did another voiceover, knocked out the voiceover, sent up the MP4, and I just waited. I got a call probably like a week later. The casting director was like, hey, if you have a chance, here's the client. I'm not gonna say the client's name. Pretty big organization in the state of Arizona. So the client goes, hey, can you come down to the arena and we'd like to meet you and see if you can do a cold read for us. So I was like, oh, well, I could come down, you know, just when you need me down. They were like, we need you down today. I was like, what's going on? They were like, well, we have a promo that we need to cut. We want to hear your voice. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll smash down there. So I smashed down to where this arena was at, and it was really nerve-wracking. There were like 6 people in a room. I had to introduce myself to everybody, and it was really weird because they looked at me and they were like, is this the guy? Even checking in, security was like, what are you here for? Who are you? I was like, hey, I'm here for a voiceover. They're like, oh, okay. Go in, just go. So I parked my car, went in, got checked, went inside. I was like, I don't know where I'm going. They're like, well, you need to go over here. Don't drift off. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I go and I meet like these 6 people. I shake their hands. They're like, well, we have a booth over here and we want to see how you work. I go in this booth. There's like 6 people. Now there's like 7 people waiting to see what I'm gonna do. I'm like, oh shit, this is nerve wracking. And then they give me lines and I was like, give me 5 minutes. So I go over the line. I go over the 5 minutes. And then I'm like, boom, I nailed the line. The people are like, oh, so this is the guy. This is the guy that I can hear his voice, but he doesn't match his voice. He looks so different. And I was like, what does this mean? They were like, this means that you're the person that we want to choose to do the rest of our voiceovers for the remaining year. I was like, wait, so you're saying you want to work with me? They were like, you just beat out, I'm not gonna say the number, but you just beat out X amount of people for your voiceover. I was like, I had no idea. They were like, well, welcome. So from that point forward, I had done probably like 35 to 40 voiceovers, just crazy voiceovers. I read a book, I helped out a player, I did all this other stuff. I met all these cool people and I walked through this whole arena and met people that had like minds and wanted to be better and wanted to do great things. And I just said to myself, this is amazing. So a couple of months passed by into this year because I'm doing my voiceovers, and somebody says, hey, I thought you quit those voiceovers. I thought you quit acting. Like, why are you still acting? And I was like, nah, man, I'm actually doing voiceovers for somebody right now. And the weirdest thing was we were hanging out and a commercial came on and then it was my voice. So I didn't say anything. I just kind of sat there and I was like, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna keep my mouth closed. And sure enough, like, the guy was like, hey, is this your voice? I was like, yeah, it is my voice. He was like, oh no, man, that's your voice. I thought you gave up on that. Oh, I thought you were a quitter. I was like, nah, man, I stayed with it, man. You know, I burnt the bridge with you and I used your ashes to light the way. The reason that I'm telling you this story is this: you are going to fail at everything that you do. Nothing that you come out and start out with is going to be great, going to be awesome, is going to be excellent. Everything you start out with is going to be horrible. You have to not quit what you're doing. You have to always push forward. You have to always try. You have to always do your best.
But instead I'm in the standard with a girl who got some standards. Getting head in the jacuzzi and she claims she from Los Angeles, but she ain't come up for air one time. I swear she from Atlantis. It's so fucking hard to have manners since I bought it.